Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we have an interesting video lined up for you. We are going to be talking about Cardano ADA from a price point of view. And in this video, I am going to be somewhat feeding into your hopium and copium. And I am going to be setting forward a technical path that may see Cardano go to $7. Now, we have given our 2024 price prediction for ADA. We see Cardano, given the technical pattern that it is currently in, and completed, going to $2.10. And there was a lot of disappointment in that price prediction. However, we have previously stated this. If you look at something like Microsoft or the NASDAQ or even the S&P, which we gave targets for back in 2023, they've made their targets based on a similar structure that we're identifying for Cardano today that sees it go to $2.10 and actually gone above and beyond. And there is absolutely the scope for Cardano to do the same thing. So in order for Cardano to do well, the entire cryptocurrency market has to do well. Now, we derive our opinion and our bias on that based largely on Bitcoin, but the broader landscape of markets. So we have a macro view on the markets, which is based on a number of things, probably most notably where the bond market's currently at, where yields are at, where we think the dollar's going, and what the effects of that are going to be on risk. And then we look at risk more broadly, the stock market and gold, which we're very bullish on, and Bitcoin is in an uptrend against those. So we've got this good macro picture that supports Cardano doing well. And Cardano on its own technical merit, like I said at the start, we have laid out a path that sees it go to $2.10. And there was a lot of disappointment about that. However, there is something that Cardano can do from now until getting to that $2.10 mark that could see it set up another pattern in the form of an inverse head and shoulders that could see it go to $7. Now, this would make my 2020 price prediction a complete one. You guys will know, and we got this wrong, and we totally admit it. When Cardano was in the cents range, I think it was round about, was it 11 cents or something like that? I came out on YouTube and gave a price prediction from round about $5 to $7. And in all honesty, that price prediction was really based on market cap and where I thought Cardano could have got to. And it didn't, quite frankly. It got to $3, as somebody who had bought Cardano in the cents range. It did very well for me, but I did get a lot of backlash in regards to the fact that it didn't quite get to $5 or $7. Now, maybe we're going to be 4 years late on that. Who knows? But we're not going to call that and say we were right from 2021. We were wrong. It didn't get there. The bull market ended, and we did enter a bear market. But we are now in a new bull market. We are being a lot more conservative and actually basing our price predictions off things technically. You need to learn from your mistakes, and I absolutely do that. And if I'd only looked at what was a technical pattern in much the same way that I'm doing today, we would have somewhat been out the market a lot sooner and really got the high that Cardano saw back in, or very close to it in 2021. So we're going to start there. We're going to look at the last bull market and the structure that it was in. We'll look at current day structure, and we'll look at the road that sees Cardano get to $7. We're also going to be looking at ADA BTC, ADA dominance, and I'm going to be telling you what the narrative is that sees Cardano get there that is now being technically perhaps signaled to us. And I think that comes in the form of an Ethereum ETF, which casts broader scope for more altcoin ETFs. And I do think we are moving towards a world where the top, certainly 10 cryptocurrencies will all have their own ETFs. There's going to be like a top 10 index like what we see offered by Bitwise, which Cardano is a part of. Remember, part of the reason we were bullish on Cardano wasn't just looking at Cardano itself, but looking at things like AADA, which has moved very much up to the target that we had for it. And we'll just take a quick look at that. So this is AADA. This is 21 shares. Kathy Woods, who are one of the largest ETF offerers, Bitcoin ETF offerers, Cardano share. You've got things like Bitwise, all called pre-break on this channel. Let's dive over to Cardano. Let's not waste any more time. So this is the kind of technical roadmap that we've set out thus far. We were identifying a change in this downtrend based on a bullish divergence. This is the 3-day chart. We're going to go up to the weekly to show you that. This was the bullish divergence we were looking at. This for us has been a very reliable. This is what allowed us to look at Bitcoin at 15, 16K and say, right, it's time to get back into the market. That is all on my Patreon. If you want to become a Patreon, link in the description. But this is what we've set out. So we were looking at the potential for an inverse head and shoulders. This was at the point where you actually interacted with this level. So this is your left armpit, this is your right armpit. And since then, you've respected the left shoulder. You've not gone below it. And you've actually broken out on, we're going to say on volume. It's not the biggest volume we've seen. And now you're respecting it and adhering to it and consolidating in much the same manner that you do pretty much all the time when you break a key level on volume. You consolidate before you then see that continuation. And we've shown you lots of schematics But $2.10 is a price prediction we're comfortable giving at this point for 2024. But if Cardano on the way up there decides it wants to interact with the $1.25 range, that is going to make this a left armpit, this potentially a right armpit, and see the scope for broader upside. And if you do get this broader head and shoulders playing out, it's to be watched. Put that $1.20 whatever cents range, let's be precise here, let's be professional, 24 cents range on your radar. Because if Cardano does indeed get there and interact with it and pull back in much the same manner we were expecting to do down here, that is going to set you up a broader structure that could see Cardano run to $7. And actually, we do think, even though we've given $2.10, if we look at something like MicroStrategy, which was a great call by us in 2023, again, very same pattern, exact pattern, different format that we saw for Microsoft. You can see how you consolidate on the break, just like Cardano is doing today. You often will retest it. Then it went on, it made its target, but went on higher. And that's going to align with the $7 price prediction that we could be seeing. So we're not calling that. I'm not going to claim any credit for that until, if it does eventually get there, until we see this actually play out. There's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes here. And that's what I meant in regards to we're kind of going to be feeding into your hopium and copium. But this, I don't think, is too far out of the realms of possibility, certainly if we've got the broader direction of the crypto space right. Okay, and I know that's going to make a lot of people very happy. But for now, we're sticking with $2.10. Watch this. If this plays out, you're going to see broader continuation. And this is how markets typically go up and down in this fashion. Bitcoin is a great testament of this. You can see smaller head and shoulders played into a bigger head and shoulders. We're now giving you a 151K Bitcoin target. We also look at things like ADA BTC, which is now in an uptrend after being in a downtrend. You do have a bullish divergence present on here as well. You've broken your downtrending market structure, which is a concession of lower lows and lower highs, into a higher high and a higher low. You made that small inverse head and shoulders target that we had here. We don't really talk about a lot of this publicly. You can see small head and shoulders here. The target for that got ran and pulled back. So Cardano is not only in an uptrend against the US dollar, it's also in an uptrend against ADA and BTC. And if you look at ADA dominance, it's doing much the same thing. Bullish divergence, finding support, bouncing off it, invalidating downtrend structure. And on the right side of the 30-weekly moving average. So you could be looking at a Cardano price of $7. For now, we're going to stick with $2.10. But what you do from now until that $2.10 range is going to potentially be able to give us that broad ultimate price prediction that we're going to be giving for 2025, whenever we think this bull market's going to end. And if I had only, so when we made that video looking at, this is what people don't realize, when we got the criticism for saying $5 to $7, Cardano was down here. It's all publicly available on the channel, by the way, if you scroll back to the start of my channel. And it did very well. We were basically looking at Cardano just following Ethereum and what it did. Ethereum was moving first, and Cardano, being the kind of competitor, wasn't going to not benefit from that. But actually there was, and this is why I had the 3-day time frame up, structure in here, which if I'd only adhered to and followed, I'd have been a lot more accurate on the market. And this is what I mean by we learn by our mistakes. Everybody, as human beings, we should all learn by our mistakes. So there was very identifiable here an inverse head and shoulders. This is your left armpit, right armpit. And the projection from that would have basically taken you out at the right time, or thereabouts. You'd have been damn close to the high. And this would have saved me a lot of heartache. So you can actually see, coincidence, you may say, that you interacted here so perfectly. And this was pretty much the top. You can see bullish divergences starting to come in here. Bearish divergences starting to appear here after that target was made. So we've got that smaller head and shoulders. We'll see if the broader one plays up. When you look at it against other markets, it looks quite good. If Cardano remains in the top 10, it will become a beneficiary of products that are derived around the crypto space. People laugh when we say a Cardano ETF could be on the cards. I'm telling you, a Cardano ETF could be on the cards. And actually, why do I get that narrative? Where do I derive that opinion from? Well, because we already have the same actors that are facilitating a Bitcoin spot ETF. We know there's already an altcoin ETF in the works in the form of Ethereum. Actually, Grayscale amended that yesterday. They're filing for their ETHE. The same actors that facilitate the Bitcoin spot ETFs also offer ADA products. This is Bitwise, another chart we were bullish on. You've got Grayscale's large fund. You know, this is so compliant with how I identify the markets. We've got a target for this. If Cardano remains in the top 10, it's going to do very well as a result of that, probably alone. And this is going to be the narrative that sees these targets be hit that we're technically addressing and looking at thus far. So keep this on your radar. Remember, watch out for that $1.20 sort of 4 cents range. You want to react with it. If you just go straight through it, there's not really a pattern there. As it stands right now, we've got $2.10, but there is the scope for $7 on the cards. Guys, that's really all I've got for you guys and girls. Always a pleasure. I hope you're all having a smashing Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.